When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him. I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living fuck out of Jake.
1. Andrew Tate completely tore into Jake Paul, demolishing him like a bulldozer through a sandcastle. He unapologetically called Jake out, bluntly labeling him as an outright jerk in no uncertain terms.
He's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot, but he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
Tate accused Jake of disrespecting boxing, a sport cherished by billions, and tarnishing its reputation. But Jake didn't stop there. He dragged a living legend, Mike Tyson, into his circus act of a fight. By doing so, Jake not only ruined the event, but also disrespected Tyson's legacy, turning a revered name into a sideshow.
I'm not some washed-up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him, and if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll fucking wreck him, and he knows.
And for what? A few more Instagram clicks. Andrew isn't standing for it. He squarely blamed Jake for the chaos, calling it an embarrassment to combat sports and a blatant insult to Tyson's legendary career. The worst part, Jake shows no shame whatsoever. It's shamelessness at its peak, and Andrew refuses to stay quiet, making sure everyone knows exactly who's responsible for this fiasco.
I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well.
Andrew Tate tore into Jake Paul on live TV, and honestly, it was long overdue. Jake, the self-proclaimed savior of boxing, boasts a fight record as questionable as his haircuts. 6 wins, 1 loss, and a fan base more excited about his TikToks than his punches. Yet, he struts around like he's reinvented the sport. Enter Andrew Tate. 76 professional kickboxing wins, 23 knockouts, and 0 tolerance for Jake's YouTube boxing circus. Tate didn't hold back, making it clear that if this were a real sport instead of Jake's social media playground, he wouldn't even make it past the tryouts.
I made a video that called out Jake Paul.
$3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. You know my name, Andrew Tate. I will fight you any day, anytime. Let's fucking go. If I were to fight Jake Paul, I would take it completely seriously like a real fight, and I'd whoop his ass. I'd beat him. Jake. Everyone thinks he's just some YouTuber.
Jake's latest stunt, dragging 58-year-old Mike Tyson out of retirement for a so-called fight, is downright absurd. Tyson is a legend, a boxing Hall of Famer who's earned his retirement and respect. But Jake decided to exploit his name for a pay-per-view spectacle and call it a fight. Andrew Tate didn't hold back.
He is not just a YouTuber. He is a young man training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia.
When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him.
Complete joke, and not a funny one. This isn't real boxing. It's a content creator's overblown ego trip. Tate made it clear he's not staying silent and is here to call out this farce for what it is.
Challenged him because he is a very fortunate young man. And he's fortunate because he's extremely rich, because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot, but he has a bunch of money, so he gets...
When Tate called Jake a clown, it wasn't just trash talk, it was the truth. Jake Paul is like the guy who shows up to a costume party in a suit and calls himself James Bond. He's playing dress up, and everyone can see it. Tate's challenge to Jake was simple. Drop the gimmicks, step into the ring with a real fighter, and prove you've got more than Instagram captions. Tate has spent years mastering his craft, going toe-to-toe with opponents who can actually punch back. Meanwhile, Jake has been busy promoting himself on social media and flexing on TikTok. He's the guy who skips practice but still demands to be team captain. It's embarrassing, really. If these two ever face off, Tate won't just win. He'll dismantle Jake in front of his own fans, delivering the brutal reality check Jake has been desperately avoiding.
But I'd still whoop his ass. but I would whoop his ass. But he wouldn't take a fight against me, because when he loses, I'm not nearly on his level of fame, right? So like, he lost to who? Whereas if he loses to Conor McGregor, it's no big deal. Well, he lost to Conor McGregor, who cares, right? That's what it's about. But yeah,
it's still money for him.
Yeah, it's money for him.
Let's talk about Tyson one more time, because this needs a special level of roasting. Jake fighting Mike Tyson at this stage of his life is like challenging a retired Olympian to a sprint and calling it a fair race. It's disrespectful, desperate, and exactly what we've come to expect from Jake Paul. Tate didn't mince words, and neither should we. If you're fighting someone 31 years older than you, it's not a competition, it's elder abuse. Andrew wouldn't do that, but Jake would because he lacks humanity and brain cells altogether. On paper, Jake and Tate might seem evenly matched. Both are over 6 feet tall and weigh around 190 to 200 ounces. But here's the thing. Experience and skill aren't written on paper, and that's where Jake doesn't stand a chance. Tate's been fighting for over a decade, while Jake's been boxing for 4 years. Most of that time has been spent figuring out how to make his next fight trend on Twitter. Jake isn't a boxer, he's a walking brand deal.
Come on! Fight! Hey! Let's go, fight! Hey! Fight! Hey! Good! Fight! Hey! Work! Hey! Work! Hey! Work! Hey! Work! Work! Hey! Work!
Andrew Tate has always made it clear that Mike Tyson is more than just a name in the boxing world. He's a living legend, an icon who shaped the sport. Tate respects Tyson the way fighters should respect each other, with honor, not opportunism. This isn't a PR stunt or hashtag moment for Tate. He openly calls Tyson one of the greatest, and unlike Jake Paul, Tate wouldn't dare drag Tyson into a sham fight just to boost his own social media numbers. Tate values legacy, while Jake Paul only values clicks. It's that simple.
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker,
Yeah.
strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's
He
run
got he
it.
got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh.
A MMA
10
double tag team
million,
match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight. You might have a fight on your.
Let's talk about Jake for a second. The guy who thought fighting a 58-year-old Mike Tyson was a smart career move. Fighting? That's a stretch. Exploiting Tyson? That's more accurate. Jake didn't see Tyson as a man who's earned his rest. He saw him as a shortcut to stay relevant in the headlines. And the worst part, Jake genuinely believed this would make him look like a real boxer. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, sees Tyson as a legend whose legacy should be preserved, not paraded around for cheap cash grabs. Tate didn't hold back, calling Jake out for what this so-called fight really was: a desperate attempt to cling to relevance. Honestly, Tate is spot on. Even Tyson, who's too classy to outright roast Jake, has hinted at the massive difference between the likes of Tate and Jake. Tyson respects figures like Tate because, like him, they'd actually earned their influence. They've put in the work, taken the hits, and emerged as real fighters. Jake Paul, his antics probably make Tyson roll his eyes so hard they're practically doing laps. The difference is glaring. Tate operates with dignity, while Jake operates like a walking billboard, always pushing for his next viral moment.
Two brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Here's the thing: respect is everything in combat sports. It's what separates the legends from the frauds. Tate's respect for Tyson isn't just lip service. It's the kind of honor that comes from understanding the grind, the sacrifices, and the legacy of a real fighter. Jake Paul, on the other hand, wouldn't know respect if it smacked him in the face with a boxing glove. His entire career is built on cherry-picking opponents who either don't box for a living or are past their prime. It's not just embarrassing, it's insulting to the sport and the athletes who take it seriously. And simple people were outraged, not just at the disrespect to Tyson, but at the sheer audacity of Jake thinking this would somehow earn him respect in the boxing world. The combat sports community has had enough of the smoke and mirrors, and is practically begging Andrew Tate to step in and give Jake the reality check he's been dodging. And let's not pretend Jake Paul doesn't know what he's doing. He's avoided real fighters for years, carefully curating his opponents to build a fake legacy. But Andrew Tate isn't some retired MMA guy looking
Doesn't
for a
even
payday.
have the decent-
He's a former kickboxing world champion with 76 wins, and the kind of experience that Jake can only dream of. If these two ever step into the ring, it won't be a fight, it'll be a dismantling. Tate will tear through Jake like a buzzsaw through cardboard, and everyone knows it, including Jake. The media's been having a field day with the possibility of this fight, and the internet is buzzing with memes, debates, and predictions. Social media is lit up with people begging Tate to shut Jake down once and for all. For Tate, it's a chance to show the world what a real fighter looks like. For Jake, It's a chance to prove he's more than just a glorified YouTuber. But let's be honest, he's not.